Hey YouTube, Grunt Reviews. We are back in the studio and have a question for you. What happens if you take an AK and an AR, put them maybe in a Vegas hotel room, throw on some Barry White and maybe throw a fine selection of whiskey in there? Well, you end up with this. Guys, today we are going to take a look and we're going to do the tabletop review on the Gilboa M43 rifle. As always, guys, go down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment with your thoughts, tickle that notification bell, and as always, I do have my Buy Me a Coffee link in the description, and let's get into it. So we will jump right into this thing. Like I said, this one is a bit of an oddity. It's if an AK got down and dirty with an AR and created this lovely contraption you see in front of you. So this actually came out of Israel, and it was essentially to give AR features, an AR style rifle, but that still took standard AK pattern magazines and fired a 7.62 by 3.9 round. So what we ended up with is we end up basically with an AK that takes, or an AR, excuse me, that takes AK mags. So starting at the front, we do get a nice ported muzzle brake there on the top with a, and I'll see if you can see that, but almost a breaching style tip on the end of it. Does of course have a 16-inch barrel. Gas block is a clamp-on style there, and this would support your front sight if you were doing backup irons. The rifle itself came out several years ago, so if you notice the key mod slots on there, that explains the dated look to this. Do not believe, well, you may be able to change it out, would have to take a look at the barrel nut, but this handguard, if you look closely, actually fits into the upper rail section there to keep it from rotating and to keep it properly indexed. Working our way back to the receivers, these are both milled receivers or billet receivers, whatever your preferred nomenclature there is. The upper is almost a standard AR upper, dust cover, brass deflector, charging handle, forward assist, and same thing on the other side, not there, of course that is milled as I mentioned. The lower receiver is where things start to take a bit of a departure. So, as I mentioned, this does use standard AK pattern magazines with a standard AK type mag release. This one did come with one, and it is marked IMI on it. But essentially, outside of the magazine well and the in-trigger guard magazine release, everything else appears to be standard AR. So standard takedown pins, standard style safety, standard grip. This actually comes with a Magpul MOE grip and what appears to be a standard style AR trigger setup. So we'll have to do a little bit more research to see if a drop-in would fit in this, but it is everything else appears to be standard mil-spec lower outside of the magazine well. Moving our way towards the back, of course, we do get a Magpul stock, and we use a standard AR-style buffer tube there. Give you a little insight on the guts of this bad boy. I happen to have an old chamber flag here. Well, if my... So something to mention is these pins are stiff, which is definitely a good thing. So you'll notice the takedown procedure, standard AR there. Bolt carrier obviously is going to have a different bolt for the 7.62 by 3.9, but is a standard style bolt carrier there. So if you're used to cleaning and operating an AR. Nothing will change. Looking into the bottom there, we can see it does have a mil-spec style fire group there and mil-spec style safety as well, and does use a standard AR type buffer. This one is just marked H. But if you are familiar with the AR platform, you will be very, very at home with this rifle. Get that put back together. So what I really like about this thing is the fact that if you already have an AK and you don't want to buy the expensive AK-AR conversion style mags, this allows you to use all of your AK pattern stuff in an AR style rifle. Kind of gives you the best of both worlds. Overall feel, like I said, everything on this is milled, so it has a little bit of weight to it, which we are going to grab our handy dandy scale here. And thanks to y'all's feedback, we're doing this for every review now. So the rifle by itself, we'll see if you can cover the shade there, coming in right at 6 pounds, 7.6 ounces. And then with an empty magazine, really hard to put an AK mag in upside down. There we go. We are coming in at 6 pounds and 15.3 ounces there. And as we always do, we are going to take a look at the trigger. So something I will mention, if you're wearing large gloves or something of that nature, you do end up kind of fighting this, this magazine release inside the trigger guard. And something else I will point out, the common thought would be that you could engage it easily with your finger. You can, but you still end up having to shift your grip a little bit to fully engage it. If you are used to just dropping the mag with the push of a button with one finger without changing your grip, it can be done, but it is a little bit difficult. However, they did a very good job keeping that as AR-esque as possible. But like I said, it does reduce some of the space that you have in there. So with larger gloves, something bulkier, you do run a possibility of engaging that magazine release partially. I did want to get to the trigger. So for a mil-spec style fire group, as we saw there, this is actually one of the best triggers I have felt out of the box. So it has just a little bit of take up to it there. That part's a little bit notchy. You're right on a wall. You're going to get a break. I'm going to reset this bad boy. And a very short audible reset. Right back on that wall. Just a little bit of notchiness there. And break. So I do like the fact that this trigger is a very short reset, not a ton of over travel, not even really a ton of pre-travel. So definitely one of the better mil-spec style triggers. As always, I've got my handy dandy Lyman digital trigger gauge here. And we are going to measure this bad boy on out. All right, so first pull breaking at 7 pounds, 11.8 ounces. And a reset. Second pull, 7 pounds, 15.1 ounces. And we will average out our third pull here. Well, that one went a little bit high. 8 pounds, 8.3 ounces. I'll give it one more to see if it drops back in that 7 range there. There we go. 7 pounds, 15.2 ounces. So between 7 and 8 pounds on the pull there, but I will say with the overall feel of the trigger, it actually feels a little bit lighter on the finger than it actually is. I think that's that real short reset to it. But all in all, not bad. And like I said, we will do some checking to see if this thing will accept standard AR style drop-ins or even mil-spec style drop-ins. But just wanted to give you that initial look. This one's kind of a weird one and don't have a lot of info on it, so figured I'd put it out there for you guys. We will be taking this out to the range here shortly. We're going to see how it performs. As always, I do appreciate your time watching this. Stay safe, train hard.